Hi there, how are you? Welcome back to Breakfast All Day. Christy and Alonso and Matt. So I'm really happy that with this next film, Alonso's going to describe it because I don't know how to do it. It is a German film called Transit from writer-director Christian Petzold.
Yes.
And my goodness, is it complicated. And so Alonso gets the arduous, unenviable task of trying to describe it to you.
Okay, I think you're overselling this.
I am. No, I'm not. It's very confusing.
Okay, so Petzold is adapting a novel that was set during World War II about people trying to get out of Nazi-occupied France, but he has decided to set it in the present day because of the rise of fascism across Europe. But the stakes are the same. People are trying to get visas and letters of transit and you know, to get that. It's very Casablanca to get out of France because I don't know if they ever use the word Nazi, but the Germans have occupied, basically.
They never say the word Nazi. You never see any swastikas.
Right.
But that's clearly what we're talking about.
But yeah, there's clearly like
here.
a fascist overrun of the country. So this guy Georg helps a friend try to get to Marseille, but the friend is dying, and by the time they get there, he's dead. So Georg reaches out to the guy's wife and child and tries to help them out as much as he can. But one of the things that he had been given before leaving Paris were a couple of letters for a writer who they're trying to get out of the country. He goes to the guy's hotel room and finds that he's dead. And once he gets to Marseille, Georg is mistaken for the writer, which he decides to go with because the writer is getting transit out of the country to go to Mexico. But also in Marseille is the dead writer's widow, who doesn't know that the writer is dead, and the two of them start this relationship that's sort of based on the idea of her still trying to find her husband and her hoping to go to Mexico with him. I guess that's the plot.
That is the plot, but it's really fascinatingly disorienting for a long time because you can't place it in time, because what they're talking about, you know, is clearly post-World War II troubles, or in the middle of World War II, even troubles as far as like the Germans invading and people having to get out, and then
they talk about spring cleaning, which is the ethnic cleansing that's been going on in other cities, and the camps have been set up, and so like they're heading to Marseille, so there's like a ticking clock of getting out of town.
And you need papers,
yeah.
And then every once in a while you'll see like the woman behind the front desk at a hotel, and her hair is like in a very retro 1940s hairstyle.
True.
Or you'll see sailors in the bar where a lot of the action takes place and a lot of people meet and have conversations with each other. And the sailors are like old fashioned, like it could be Gene Kelly, you know, and they're old fashioned sailors. And
and there's not a lot of like cell phones or computers in this movie.
There's not, but then when you step outside the bar, it's like modern day. Well, there are like bus stops with like monitors on them.
Yeah.
There's signage, there are ads. The cars are all modern cars,
yes.
And so like the luggage is modern, like rollerboard luggage. And
when the fascists are picking people up, they have like contemporary vans with sirens on them.
Right, and the uniforms are not old uniforms. So here and there you get glimmers of 1940s aesthetic, and in the way people speak to each other and in the way they dress. But mostly it takes place in the present day, and it's really disorienting, but not necessarily in an off-putting way, in a way that makes you kind of want to lean in and understand it better.
Well, I think he's basically making the point that, like, you know, history is circular. We are now back in a place where after...
Right, this could happen anytime.
Exactly. After defeating fascism in Europe, oh, look, it's back, you know. And so I think, you know, I think it's a cool idea, but I think it's sort of just an idea in terms of... once you get that, it doesn't really go. There's nowhere else to go with it apart from like, okay, so this is what we're doing.
It's in the kitchen. It's an old phone in the kitchen that we gave Nick to play games on.
Gotcha.
And people sometimes call it. Sorry.
No worries.
That'll end soon.
But anyway, so my thing with this movie though is that people love this film. The reviews have been rapturous, and I just am not seeing what they're seeing because. For me, the central relationship of the movie is between Georg and Marie, the widow of the writer, who's played by Paula Beer, who was in François Ozon's France.
And Never Look Away.
She's now in Never Look Away, the Florian Henkel von Donnersmarck movie. But, you know, she and her husband had been estranged, but now suddenly she wants to get back together. And it's like the movie's ever very clear about, like, well, is she does she love the husband, or does she just want the husband as a ticket out of town? And then, the fact that he won't tell her, he tries to tell her that her husband is dead and she won't believe it, but he doesn't say, no, I saw his body and I have his papers and I'm pretending to be him now. That conversation never gets had, so that bugged me. There's narration, which...
there's a narrator.
Which got on my nerves.
And then you got to wonder throughout who's the narrator, which also kind of gives it like a film noir vibe, because the narrator is very knowing and like kind of adds embellishments and emotions to the idea of what he's narrating.
I don't know. But I found a lot of it to be extraneous. I don't know. This movie kind of left me cold, frankly. And, it feels like it's cobbled together from Casablanca and The Passenger.
It's very Casablanca.
Which is the Antonioni movie where Jack Nicholson is traveling with somebody else's papers and gets embroiled in that guy's life, And so ultimately, I didn't love this.
I really admired the ambition of it, and I really liked the central performance from Franz Rogowski as Georg. He's got kind of like a Joaquin Phoenix-ish physicality to him.
He's if Vincent Gallo wanted to cast a younger, hotter version of himself in a movie.
But there's something about him that's like, there's like brooding and a little dangerous and a little stoic and a little inscrutable but fascinating that reminded me, and also facially just reminded me of Joaquin Phoenix quite a bit. I was always fascinated by this film, and I always wanted to know what was going to happen. I never knew what was going to happen. Once I got past the initial kind of disorientation of it all, I was really into it, and I appreciated what it is trying to say about what's happening in the world now without like really painfully on the nose saying what's happening in the world
Sure,
now.
no. I appreciated that as a trope, and I thought it was a cool idea. And he does have that interesting relationship with the kid and the kid's mother, who are both, Middle Eastern, I guess?
They're from Northern Africa somewhere, and they're Muslim.
And so obviously they're trying to also, find safety. I mean, there are interesting ideas in the film. It's well acted. I liked the whole sort of playing around with time as far as the setting. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get swept up in neither emotionally nor just in the ideas of this movie.
People take ships places. They're always like waiting to get on a ship and
there's no airplanes
Marseille.
in this movie. It's all about getting on the boat.
I think I'm with you in admiring it more than I loved it, but I was into it the whole time. So I'm saying 7.8.
I said 6.5. I think it does a lot of stuff well, but it just didn't leave me with this that a lot of critics seem to be getting out of it. Like just. After I don't read reviews until after I see the movie, but after seeing this, I was looking at the Rotten Tomatoes page and reading up some people, and they were just rapturous. I was like, it's that thing where you're like, wow, I wish I'd seen that movie.
So, it is at 96% on the tomato meter. So, pretty much everyone adores it. So, I think it opened in New York last week, and it's LA this week. So, it's probably scattering out to the world eventually.
Yeah, Music Box is releasing it. So, keep an eye out. If it hasn't gotten to you yet, it will hopefully get there soon. Thank you for watching. Leave us a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. And if you want to hear this show as a podcast, we are at Spotify and Google Play and all the usual podcatchers. You can leave us positive feedback there, and you can follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.